tūtaki ana nā awe rua. E hora ana tētahi korowai o te mana, o te rangatiratanga, o te whakapapa.
It's because of what transpired that has brought us together today.
I tēnei wā tonu, e huraina ana nā kōrero muna, nā kurahuna.
We look forward to sharing.
Rangona ana te mauri o te honona I waengi I nā iwi e rua. Rangatira mai, kāwana mai. Ā, hei pautoko manawa, ko tētahi tupuna, nāna I takahi ēnei whenua, kone atu I te rua rautau I mua.
E tangata matakite, e tangata matakā.
They use the term Herculean proportions, which is rather dramatic, but you could just imagine it.
He had this mana, which travelled across cultural boundaries.
He was a man who realised the moment of the time.
He rangatira o tōna ahua, I tangata rangi Māori e.
Ko te ingo o te whenua rā, ko te foresight, having foresight, ne te mataroa. Koina te tahi o ngā āhua o te whenua, kia peke aki koe ki runga ki te hi o tō mātou maunga matakā, ka kite koe, ki te pai tāwhiti, ne?
Ko Herbri hari tēnei, no Ngāti Torahina ki matakā, I ārahi ana ia, I a tātou, ki tōna tūranga waiwai, ki mataroa, ki runga hoki I tōna maunga, I a matakā.
Nā tērā ka rere ngā wawata, ngā moemoea o te tangata. He aha ke ko, ne? Koina te tahi kia au, āhua honu o Te Pahi. E tangata matakite, e tangata moemoea, he aha te mea, he aha te tangata kei tērā atu taha o te arai.
Ko ia, nō hi ai e nei whenua e Te Pahi I nā tau o te 1800. Hoi, I raurangi ke o na whakaro, I tua noa atu o tōna ao. Ka haere tawhiti atu ia ki tua, ki tā wāhi. Ā, e rangona tonutia ana o na pānga ā mohoa nei.
E tino nui te hia moiho I roto iaia. E tino nui te hikaka ke roto iaia ki te ako I ngā mea hau, I ngā mea Pākehā, mo te painga o ana uri, o ngā hapu katoa o te taitokerau. Ai. E tangata waka moemoea.
Tēnei te reo whakamānawa e rere nei runga I ngā hau o te wā. He te wiko taringa tēnei e mihake nei. Tēnā rā koutou nau mai hoki mai.
Ko wai a Te Pahi, e hia kai ana ki ngā kōrero mōna. Ko wai au, ki te taha o tōku whaia, e uri au no Ngāpuhi, ko Eugene Bingham tōku ingoa. He kai tuhi, kairi puata hoki au, e ngā taukua pahure, I rongo au I ētahi kōrero mō te tupuna nei, mō Te Pahi, engari he nui tonu aku pātai.
There she is. Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Good to
Kei te
see you.
pihi a koe.
Oh, kei te pai a koe.
Nō reira, kia tūtaki tātou, kia Deirdre Brown.
Good to see you again. Yeah. Should we go in?
Yes, welcome to my whare.
Oh, thank you.
Old Government House.
Old Government House. So you've brought someone with you today. Do you want to introduce us?
Kia ora. So I thought for my kōrero today I'd bring my tupuna, Te Pahi, with me. Te Pahi is my great-grandmother's great-grandfather. My great-grandmother, Harata Rifi, she's descended from a line of people who are called Rifi. Rifi was one of Te Pahi's sons. I look at this often and look at his hair and think about my own hair. But also, you know, he's got the full moko kanohi. He's fully tattooed. He's obviously a man of Rangatira and standing. And here he is with his taonga in his hand, draped in the clothes of his people, made out of the plants from his kāinga as well. And I think this is a very respectful portrait. This hangs in my office and I take a lot of inspiration from it every day. I look at it every day. I think how amazing it is that I am descended from this incredible Rangatira, that there are so many of us now, and his role in making sure that our whakapapa continued, but also his important role in, I guess, starting to build the foundations between Māori and Pākehā culture in Aotearoa, New Zealand, which has led on to the country that we have today.
Hei tāpere atu ki tōna whanaungatanga ki a Te Pahi. Kua rangahau hoki a Deirdre mōna. He ahurangi a Deirdre ki Waipapa Taumatarau.
My mahi is situated in Māori art and architecture. I'm particularly interested in 19th century Māori art, and some of my mahi has focused on the recovery of knowledge, but also identifying lost taonga that are in museums. The Te Pahi work that I found my way into was always an interest for me.
Hoi anō, e hara te ara rangahau I te ara māmā. He nui nā piki, he nui hoki nā heke.
There were no kōrero tuku iho shared with me about Te Pahi. There was some reticence, I would say, within my own whānau about talking about him. I think that's probably my grandmother's generation and my mother's too. Not that they were whakamā about him. They were very proud of their Ngāpuhi ancestry, that there was rangatira in the whānau. But of course the Te Pahi story is a very difficult one and has been told in a particular way. The way that they would have heard about it during their schooling was not the way that their ancestors had passed down stories to them. So there was this conflict between how history was regarding Te Pahi up until, say, the early 1980s, and how Te Pahi was being remembered within whakapapa.
Me āta haere tātou. He tika tāna kōrero. I nā wā o mua, he nui nā kōrero hori-hori mō Te Pahi nā Te Pākehā. He kōrero takehi mana. Hoi anō, e ū tonu nā uri o Te Pahi ki te whakapono me te aroha mōna. Ka mutu, kua tino puawai mai te pono me te tika inaia nei, nā runga I nā mahi a ētahi pau hitori. Pēnei ia Dame Anne Salmond.
I'm from Tairāwhiti, from Tūranganui-a-Kiwa, and also from the University of Auckland, which I guess has been my other home, and Devonport. Here we are in Auckland.
I roto I āna mahi, I tīmata a Dame Anne ki te rangahau I nā tūtakitanga tuatahi a te Māori me te Pākehā.
The time I was writing about Te Pahi, I was working on that whole period when the voyages of scientific exploration were coming to an end, and they'd surveyed the country and they'd kind of figured out what sorts of things might be useful for the imperial homeland, so to speak, mainly Britain, of course. And they had encountered whales, they saw seals, timber for the spars in the Royal Naval vessels. So when I was looking at those early exchanges in the whaling era, Te Pahi stood out because he was somebody that people talked about all the time. Very entrepreneurial and very curious.
He ao hou, he ao rereke I te totoro ki te ao Māori. Ko tā Te Pahi, he noho mata tū, he noho mata oho.
From those headlands, which were pā, they were fortified settlements, you had a very commanding view of the Bay of Islands. So this was a very strategic location for his kāinga, for his settlement, because he could see all incoming and outgoing waka traffic, and of course Europeans were coming in greater numbers.
Ka haere mai rātou runga i te reo, te wairua, i puta atu ki te ao mai te whenua, mai te pātapu o rangi haua. I rongo rātou i taua wairua, ka haere mai rātou ki rangi haua.
He whenua mato, he whenua taurikura, he whenua rongo kau noa i te wairua, nā ona hua nui hoki te Pākehā i haere mai ai.
Ngā kāpene o ngā waka Pākehā, i tai mai i te moana rā, pewhairangi, ki te kohi kai, kohi rākau, hei whakatika i rātou waka. Ne? Ai, ko era ngā tutakitanga tuatahi ki te kirimā, tangata kirimā.
Me te utu,
Iron was a critical material for Māori at that time. We know from accounts of the settlement, metal was turned into gouges and spikes. Metal axes became increasingly important. And, you know, these materials are important for construction, and the more you have of them, the more you can make and the more prosperous your society becomes.
I taua wā, i roto i aua mahi, mārama ana te koi o Te Pahi. I kitea ia te tōtara, i roto i te kākano.
I get a sense that he was a man who realised the moment of the time, that this was a time where there was opportunity to engage with Europeans and to enhance what Māori were already doing. And as a leader, seeking those opportunities, seeing what could be drawn out of them, he knew would enhance the haora and the mana of his own people.
O ki te ei tātou ngā mea ki tēnei tātou. Tēnā ki te kakea te ei tātou ki runga ki ngā pāko te hau, māla mato e te titiro ki te whenua katoa.
Ko te hurihanga rīhari tēnei, he rangatira anō no Ngāti Torehina ki Mataka.
He was one who understood the past, but he also looked toward the future. He understood, and to look beyond the horizon, beyond the place where our tupuna referred to, te tahatua te rangi, the place where the two waters meet, earth's water and heaven's water.
Ka tupu te mōhio, ka tupu hoki te hiakai ki mōhiotanga ke atu. Kia mōhio hoki ki tētahi tangata motuhaki pai.
He's becoming more and more curious. Te Pahi became very interested in the idea of meeting Philip Gidley King.
Ko Philip Gidley King, te kāwana o New Hautewera i taua wā. I eke ia ki te tūranga, i muri mai i tāna tainga ki Ahitereiria, mā runga i te tāruru tuatahi. Arā, ko nā waka tuatahi no Ingarani i kawi mauhere atu. I mōhiotia a King mō tāna pai ki te Manaaki. I tūtaki kē ia ki ētahi atu manuhiri Māori, tai atu ki te whanaunga o Te Pahi ki a Mātara.
Well, I think King is really important because he was the first kāwana that Māori really got to know. And we have all these debates about the treaty and kāwanatanga. But the kāwana were real people, and they were people that, you know, were either friendly or not. And King was somebody that, from a tikanga point of view, seemed to have mana as well.
So it's in Te Pahi's mind, I must go and visit this man.
Well, I think King also had Te Pahi in mind. I think it was a mutual thing because King had heard about Te Pahi and he was sending him pigs and, you know, various gifts before Te Pahi came and spent time with him. So I guess Te Pahi was curious and so was King.
Kāore e kore, I mui I tētahi haerenga nui, I matia Te Pahi ki te whai tautoko I o nā anō, I rangatira ke atu anō hoki.
I taua wā, mahanga rangatira, ne? He maha. Ko Te Pahi, te tahi, ko rautau, ko ngā tamaiti rautau, ko whare mokaikai, me tana tuakana, te uri o kanai, ko whare poaka, ki te kore noho, te rangatira I runga I te whenua, ka ngaro, No reira he rereke te tūranga rangatira o taua kāhui rangatira.
In the time of Te Pahi, the fathers of the area, the territory, te uri o kanai whare mo kaikai mā, alatu mā, they were regarded as the matua, as matua of the territory.
Taumata anō.
Ah, he taumata anō, ai. And they saw in Te Pahi all the qualities that would make him suitable, not only as a rangatira, but also as a māngai for the people.
Ai.
Growing up, it was said, ko te tūranga tika o te rangatira, kei roto kei ngā tapue o ana mātua. The right place for a king to stand, a rangatira to stand, is in the footprint of his fathers. To stand in such a way that honors his father's name, that honors his father's word, and honors his father's will. Tērā te wāhi tika mo te rangatira. Hei whakamana i te ingoa o ana mātua, hei whakamana te kupu o ana mātua, hei whakamana i tā rātu I pai ai.
Nā waira ka whakatau a Te Pahi me haere.
Kia ako, kia kohi I ngā mea pai, mo tōna whānau, mo tōna hapu, mo tōna whenua. Ina I kite ia I ngā tapu-tapu, ngā mihini, ngā tikanga hau.
So off he goes.
Yes, off he goes.
Yeah.
Yes, with 4 of his sons, whole entourage, visits Norfolk Island on the way, has a bad experience on the ship going to Norfolk, but is kindly treated in Norfolk itself, and decides that, yes, he will go and see King and visit him in Government House.
I te hiku o Noema, I te tau ko 1805, ka tae ake a Te Pahi ki Poi Hākina. Ka kawea atu ia ki te whare kāwana ki te aroaro o Kāwana King. Ahakoa e mohio kē rāua ko wai a wai, koe nei te tūtakitanga tuatahi a te tokorua nei. Pērā rawa te hirahira I tuhi kōrero a Kāwana King.
On being introduced, he took up a number of his mats, laying them at my feet, and disposed of a stone patu-patu in the same manner, after which he performed the ceremony of itongi, or joining of noses.
So Te Pahi arrives and he's wearing fine garments, you know, chiefly attire, and basically says to him, here am I with my sons. Do you want me to go to Britain? Do you want me to stay in my own country? You know, it was forging a relationship, a really deep one, with King.
So good to finally meet you.
That meeting between those two men, it feels like a real moment. Rangatira to rangatira.
I think it was very much founded on notions of mana, that Te Pahi went as a rangatira of New Zealand and recognised the governorship of King, and Governor recognised the rangatiratanga of Te Pahi. They were almost like envoys of their own cultures coming together.
Mana travelled in that time. You know, a rangatira could meet a king as an equal and a kawana as an equal.
It's not a one-way thing. There is reciprocity. And you can only find that really when you go and visit. Rangatira ki te rangatira. Seeing what you have, seeing what I have, and seeing if there was a way that we could work together to create a future for all of us.
He wānanga.
Wānanga. Yeah, tika. He ana ho me ngā rangatira ka āta wālanga hi ai. Tēnā pēr ka puto he hua mō o te katoa.
JJ, tēnā koe nau mai haere mai ane ki a taringa.
Hei, tēnā koe parane, kaurangi, koutou mā, tēnā tātou katoa.
Kia ora e hoa.
Rangatira ki te rangatira. Whai muri I tērā hongi motuhake. He aha atu anō nā mahi a Te Pahi ki poi hākina I taua wā. Kia haere atu tātou, ka kite atu ai. Hoi anō, he tere noa atu te haere I ēnei rā. Ko Uncle Dean Kelly tēnei, he kaumātua ia, no te iwi whale one, no UN country. Ko te kaupapa matua tuatahi, ko te mea nui katoa, ko te whakatau a te mana whenua, me ngā mihi tau tūtu.
Smoke can be used for many reasons, for many purposes. We can use it for cleansing of the spirit. Cleaning the spirit is important. Aboriginal culture is still alive, but it's not old, it's ancient. Aboriginal culture can't be owned. Aboriginal culture is nature, and nature is the greatest teacher, biggest classroom, and largest university. It's good to be with these people, and I'm grateful they've turned up.
Tēnā koe te rangatira mau I whakatau mātou I tēnei pōheri motuhake. Tēnei te mihi, tēnei te mihi.
Thank you. I'll close this off.
Kātahi te whiako hōhonu ko tērā, no mātou te honore. Irere nei ngā mihi, ki ngā iwi taki o konei. Arā, ki ngā iwi moi ā. Akāti, he mahi me oti, me hoki te aro ki a Te Pahi. Me whai tētahi no konei, hei kai ārahi. Nō reira, I a tāwhare mātea e tātā mai ana, ka patu huarahi mātou. Kia tūtaki nai tētahi tokurua atamai, e mau ana e raua he korero motuhake, mō nai Māori I ahi te reiria I ngā rā uki.
Kia ora! Tēnā koe.
Eugene.
Pōhepa. Welcome.
Hi,
Welcome. You've come at a time we've had a bit of a power cut. And also you've picked a big storm to come down too. But hopefully we'll make it home.
We will.
All right. Ora mai.
Ahakoa kāhore he hiko I te whare, he mahana rawa atu, tā rawa whakatau mai.
We have a lot of storms. Ironically, there are a lot of storms that happen when we speak about Te Pahi.
There are.
Yeah.
I mahi a hōhepa ruhe, rawa ko Mel Low ki te papatonga rewa I mua. Kātahi ka heki ki poi hākina, ka whakatū ai I te kamupene o kotahi tourism.
I want people to know that our people were real. They walked and talked like everybody else. They had fun, they had humour, they had rather incredible adventures, and they were daring and they were not scared to come forward. And I sort of felt that I could do worse than putting them on my back and then carrying them proudly, because I realised I stand proudly on their shoulders, you know, every day. And it sort of went with me every single day. So I've carried that type of care, manaakitanga, that type of tautoko for our tupuna, and sort of transferred it to every single other entity I can find, including Te Pahi.
Wow.
Kua ā te whakaroa hōhepa ki te whanaungatanga I Wāhanga I a Te Pahi, rawa ko King.
I always felt there was almost a brotherhood between the two. I felt that Te Pahi felt safe with King. I think he thought his conversations were safe with King, and I thought it was in regard to the other way around as well. I think they sort of put their hands on each other's shoulders and tried to not just sort of advise each other, but also to support each other through their relationship.
E ai ki a hōhepa, e noho a Te Pahi ki te whare kāwana I te pokapū o poi hākina. Kua kore taua whare e nai nei, koia kē ko te tūranga o te whare taonga o poi hākina. Ka mutu, he rereke no atu te taone o taua wā, I tā tātou e mōhio nei, I naia nei.
You would have seen a lot of Noe craft on the water, and it would have been women were the kings of the waters of Sydney Harbour. A lot of those buildings in the early days were canvas. They hadn't put up any permanent buildings.
Hoi anō, ka taia tā tātou whai I ngā tapuai o Te Pahi ki konei. Koe nei te whare kāwana I Paramata, he whare anō I nōhio ai e nā kāwana. E mōhio ana mātou I toro hoki a Te Pahi ki tēnei whare. Aha koa he nui ake te whare e nai nei, I hikoi tonu a Te Pahi I ētahi o ēnei rūma. Ka mutu pia, he pātai ka toko ake I roto I au. He aha nā momo whakaro I rere I tōna hirikapo. I pēhia o na whakaro ki nā tikanga a te Pākehā, ki nā tini mea hou anō.
In Government House, in the living room, it was the first time Te Pahi tasted cakes. It blew his mind. You can imagine that, sugar hitting your system for the first time. And, and the sole reaction, overall with the flavours and, now the wheat flour and, the milk and whatever contents they put in it, and then you have sugar on the top of that.
I tauhau katoa te iwi o poi hakina ki a Te Pahi. I tauhau hoki aia ki a rātou me te aha, ao te pō aia, e whaia haere hi ana.
He was a bit of a celebrity to start with, wasn't he?
I think so. Sometimes that was unpleasant. I mean, somebody would mock his moko, for example. And they say he retorted and said he thought that, greasing your hair and putting powder in it was equally ridiculous,
That sense of humour, perhaps.
Yes, but also King does remark that he would get very angry about any kind of slight. A woman had given him earrings and he had given them to a young woman, and this woman, one of the settlers, didn't like that, so she took them back off this young woman, and Te Pahi was furious and said, she doesn't understand about mana, obviously, and about gift exchange.
Koha.
Tuku atu, tuku mai.
It sounds like he was feted, he was looked after, he stayed with his sons in the governor's mansion in Parramatta. He was introduced to key people in the community, and those key people included John MacArthur, who was running a large sheep farm. And I suspect that that was possibly one of the most important meetings that Te Pahi would have seen, because he would have seen pastoralism and agriculture on a large scale and would have no doubt thought about, could that happen where I'm living too? And I believe MacArthur also had a woolen mill, so this would have been Te Pahi's first taste of the Industrial Revolution, seeing it in action, seeing it being made, not just as items that turned up for trade.
He haerenga whainga ki te rapu i ngā mea hau. I ngā mea hau, i ngā mea hei whakaora. Mo tōna iwi, mo tōna hapu.
I think another influential meeting would have been the meeting with the Reverend Samuel Marsden, who was a magistrate in Parramatta. He was also an agent for the London Missionary Society and also the Church Missionary Society as well. And we know that they had a great conversation about religion. Samuel Marsden was greatly impressed by meeting Te Pahi.
E hara, I tino whakamiha a Samuel Marsden ki a Te Pahi, e ai ki a nā anō kōrero.
Te Pahi was a man of high rank and influence in his own country. He possessed a clear, strong and comprehensive mind and was anxious to gain what knowledge he could of our laws and customs. He was wont to converse much with me about our God. He behaved with great decorum.
Ao noa pōnoa ko tā Te Pahi, he ako.
He was kind of an ethnographer. He was really doing the same sort of thing that, I guess, ironically, people like Joseph Banks were doing on board the Endeavour, right? The only thing is we don't have the journals.
I hia ako Te Pahi mo te pūna hakoti, hia ha o na tikanga, mā hia uai te mana tika. I taua wā, he mea hautonu te pūna ha whakatauhara a te koroni. He ririke no atu ētahi āhuatanga ōna i ngā tikanga o ēnei rā. E mārama ake ai tātou, ka toro ai ki tētahi, kua āta rangahau i tēnei pūnaha tawhito.
Eugene, welcome to Sydney.
Right, good to meet you.
Welcome to History House, come in.
Thank you so much.
He ahorangi hitori ia, he mātanga hoki ki ngā ture taihara no ngā rā tōmua o Ahitereiria.
Wonderful.
Welcome
Thank
to my
you.
office. It's a very unique and a very eclectic justice system. It's forged specifically to deal with a very strange colony, which is a convict colony. So the British, when they set this colony up, are faced with a decision of how do you administer justice and law to a population that is already under sentence of the law. And what they come up with, to the surprise of everyone, is this strange military-civil hybrid. So they're actually following British statutes and British common law and British criminal law as closely as possible, but they're doing it with a military tribunal. And so it's very autocratic, it's very unusual.
So is it a system that we would recognise today?
Oh, no, hardly. I mean, for a start, you had the judge himself was the prosecutor, the judge advocate. You had no defence. You would see some aspects that we'd recognise today of witnesses being called forward to give some account of what has happened. And then a series of military officers in full attire will then deliver their verdict. It was not exactly an open system of justice as we would demand today.
Was there much coverage? Did the public know what was going on inside these courtrooms?
Well, I think it was an open court. You could go and watch, and people did.
Koe apu te mahi a Te Pahi i tētahi paraere, nō nā e noho ana i te koroni. E ai ki a Kāwana King, i haere a Te Pahi ki te kōti, ki te mā takitaki i te whakawātanga o tētahi kāhu i tāne.
I'm gathering he was a distinguished guest, so he would have had a good view of proceedings. We don't have any real account of how highly attended the court was on that particular occasion, but there would have been some sort of area for viewers. He would have sat there, he would have watched the judge read out the charges.
Come before me today in manacles. That's the least that you deserve.
Nā tuhituhi a Kāwana King i tāna rātaka, e mōhiotia ana he hoia ētahi o nā tāne. I kawea heri ti atu rātou i te kāinga o Port Dalrymple. I te takiwā e mōhiotia ana ko Tahimania i ēnei rā. I pepū ake te kehi i tētahi hara tino nui arā i te tāhai.
2 soldiers and a convict were sent, prisoners, from Port Dalrymple to be tried by a criminal court for stealing some pork from the king's stores at that place.
This is a period where almost every form of theft is a serious offence, whether it's stealing food or stealing clothes. And I would guess that in the context of Port Dalrymple in the early 1800s, pork was pretty scarce. And it's presumably stealing supplies from the government is what it is, which is an extremely serious offence, not just because it's food and it's valuable food, but because it is a sort of crime that impinges on the well-being of the settlement.
Gives me no pleasure.
Kāore a Kāwana King I ruku hōhonu ki te whakawātanga. Engari, hei tāna, I te mutunga iho, I whakatauria ake I hara tonu nā mauhere. Ā, ko te whiuna, ko te mate.
Guilty. I sentence you to death. Take them down.
Why?
O horere katoa ana a Te Pahi. I muri iho, ka tūtaki atu ia ki ngā mauhere, ka awhiawhi atu ai.
He was clearly very invested in the outcome of these people because he couldn't understand why they had been sentenced to death for stealing food when they were hungry, and food being a common item too. Why would a person lose their life for something like that? So it was obviously something that he found confrontational, which he couldn't reconcile with his own beliefs.
Nā te raurau, nāku te raurau, ka orai te iwi. In other words, when it came to the basics of life, the basic necessities, there was a sense of community there. So if one was hungry, the community was responsible. That could have been part of the reason why he acted as he did.
He realised that he had this very special connection with King and could articulate his feelings to see if they could affect the situation in any way.
I whakaai a Te Pahi ki te kawe I tētahi petihana ki a kāwana King. Ka inoi nā tāne ki a King, ki a tohu ni a rātou. E hia a Te Pahi ki te āwhina. Ka hoki a Te Pahi ki te whare kāwana, I reira, ka kōrero ia ki a King.
I guess what always impressed me the most when I read, King's account of his conversation with Te Pahi after the court case, and that's quite incredible, because Te Pahi was genuinely incensed that people could be sentenced to death for stealing food. He said, if it was iron, that's something permanent. But food, you eat it and you pass it off. I mean, why would you kill someone for taking food? And he was incredibly upset, imploring King not to kill, the people that had been sentenced to death for taking food. And he just thought it was completely barbaric.
Toast everyone. It's a beautiful dinner and wine, drinks, and to Te Pahi.
I taua pō, I hui tahi tētahi rōpu manuhiri ki a kāwana King, rāua ko Te Pahi I te kai o te pō. Ka haere tonu te tau tohi, he whakaaro Māori ki tētahi taha, he whakaaro Pākehā ki tētahi.
There was total clash of philosophies. They're debating about who's right. And Te Pahi's holding his ground. This idea of tuku atu tuku mai, this gift exchange, chiefly generosity. That if you're a rangatira, you give. You try and give more than you take.
Engari tonu, ū tonu a Te Pahi ki tāna, pau te kaha. O ti rā, I aia whakarongo ana ki ngā whakaaro a King, ka huri a Te Pahi ki tētahi o ngā manuhiri, ki tētahi kāpene kaipuke.
King was expounding on this issue of property and taking people's property without permission and how you had to punish them severely. And so Te Pahi sits there and points at a captain of a whaling ship and said, well, he came to Te Puna and he stole a whole lot of potatoes. Why did you kill him?
Good point.
Double standards, yeah.
Koia, e tuhi kōrero hoki ētahi atu o ngā manuhiri, mō taua wā. E ki ana I tino whakamā te kāpene, he tika katoa no ngā kōrero a Te Pahi, nā te kāpene tonu I tāhai riwai I te hapū o Te Pahi. Ko te tūtakitanga motuhake, a Te Pahi me ngā mauhere, Ko nā inoi a Te Pahi, mō ēnei tāngata tauhou te painga, he mea whakamiharo katoa.
And he tomos for their lives with the governor.
Ka whakaro anō au ki te punua pāho.
You know, what cracks me up is that their ure would be running around Sydney now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think to myself, they're probably boy races or something. And, you know, they would have they'd be none the wiser as to this, this kōrero, you know, and the importance of...
Āna, ka tahi te whakaro, i ahatia rā i muri iho. Kei hia o rātou uri, ka kitia rānei te pono, i rua rautau i muri mai.
What did it mean to the people that gave it to him? What happened to it?
It was hard to work out exactly what happened.
There's been a series of crimes, people stealing from the government.
I sentence you to death.
He decided on making quite significant choices.
Utu is not about revenge, it's about balance.
And unfortunately, the consequences were for my people.
He no ka tūtaki nei ngā iwi nei. I'd love to meet them.
What have you been able to find out?
Very little. Can you actually trust these people?
My name's Maren Best. I've descended from a convict.
Ko te reo, te take.